Okay, hey everybody, this is Mark Maya. I have two very special guests for my Artist Talk series today. Josh and Shelly Hartman are with us. Hey, Josh and Shelly, how are y'all?
Hi,
Hey,
we're
how's it
great.
going?
Good. I heard you guys are out in the desert, right?
Yep,
Yeah, Moab.
yep. We
Cool.
woke up at sunrise to go see the arch, delicate arch. So we've done some exploring this morning. We just got
Yeah.
here last night.
Okay. I was just out there with the photo rehab crew back
That's so awesome.
in October.
That's
Yeah,
so
I saw the
awesome.
photos from that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you on your phone right now? Can you shoot? Did you say you can see the arches right outside of
Oh
your?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. We have it. You can see it through our camper window right now.
Well,
Okay.
let me just show you a picture.
Oh yeah, but Josh has better pictures.
Yeah, it's pretty. It was the most incredible thing I've seen.
Yeah.
Of all the places I've been to, this just blows them all away.
Really?
Moab is incredible.
Mhm.
So yeah, there was you could probably see it because it's a silhouette, but
Yeah.
you see kind of Shelly there hanging out.
Oh wow! Right.
Yeah, that was what arch was that called?
That was the delicate arch.
Oh no, that wasn't a delicate arch. This was a delicate arch.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was picture frame arch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
it's just like that kind of scenery everywhere. It's just,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
And then like these rocks that are like somehow balancing on top of other rocks that like are just gonna fall someday.
Yeah.
That are like gigantic rocks
Right.
and just huge rock structures. It's insane.
Yeah, I actually didn't get an opportunity to visit the arches when I was out there, unfortunately, just because it was a morning after I did not want to get up. So
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys did some cool like drone stuff because I saw the video. That was awesome.
Yeah,
So was that must not have been in the national park?
So Rob Benson, Rob and Lindy, they actually did that. He's the one who actually kind of shoots all of those videos. So he was probably out there doing those shots. I think he actually made the video you guys saw beforehand because he's from Utah. So I think him and Chad and went out and did that to make the promo. So
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
that's cool.
So what have you guys been doing since wedding season ended?
Well, wedding season just ended
Yeah.
the first week of January.
Yeah.
And then once that ended, we drove out to Colorado to spend some time in Estes Park, which we actually had a couple of engagement sessions out there, but we parked in one of our previous couples and friends' driveways because they own a really adorable little cabin out in Estes Park.
Yeah. So basically, it's like the Rocky Mountain National Park is your backyard.
Yeah.
It's 10-minute drive up there, and I did some backcountry skiing. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was the most incredible skiing I ever did, and it was free.
I did hikes where I was like stepping in snow that was like up above my knees, like
Yeah.
5 feet of snow or something up on the top of the Rockies, like just
Yeah.
beautiful.
And we actually did 2 engagement sessions out there. We did one at the Flatirons near Boulder,
Mhm.
and that was really cool.
Yep.
And then the second one, we took them to Dream Lake in Rocky Mountain National Park, and we were hiking in like over 10 foot of snow, and it's so funny because the guy. Okay, so everybody was fine. Like we decided not to bring snowshoes, which is a big mistake,
Yeah,
and
we
everyone
should've
was
brought
fine
snowshoes.
except the guy and is it Ronnie? Sorry, Ronnie. He weighs a little bit more than the rest of the group, so like he was in the back, and every step he was just sinking like all the way waist deep into the snow, and
It was
everyone
really
else
deep snow.
was just walking
I mean,
over it fine, and he was just like sinking every
I was
step.
sinking too, but yeah. I mean, it was totally worth it. Everyone had a great time. And they even, to get up this mountain, we even had to have Ronnie and Josh sit in the back of our pickup truck so we could get up with the chains and
Yeah,
make it
was
up the
crazy.
mountain. But yeah, I mean, it's just like a whole nother world out
It's
there.
probably the only time I wish I had all-wheel drive.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, to get out of the couple that we were staying with, Lauren Oakley, shout out to Lauren Oakley, we had to have chains on our tires to get out of their driveway
yeah,
most days.
It sounds like an adventure, and I think that's y'all's style, though. That's what y'all do.
Yeah.
Right? Y'all.
yeah, oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn off my Instagram live because I don't want to sit here and hold it. But what I want to do is I kind of want to talk about y'all's journey. Your adventure, I guess, because I've known y'all for a few years now. I know we ran into each other.
Yeah.
On the fire, a few years ago here in North Carolina, and I know we've kind of been social network friends for a while. But what I want to talk about today is kind of your journey to where you are, because you guys just got listed on the top 30 of Rangefinder's top 30 Verizon wedding photographers. Congratulations, by the way, amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, talk to us about things as photographers. What made y'all kind of jump into this industry in the beginning?
I'll let you answer that.
Yeah.
I feel like you can answer that better than me.
So, so we're high school sweethearts. Like, we grew up in West Chicago High School, West Chicago High School. I was an elementary teacher for 5 years in North Carolina. I didn't even apply for Illinois schools. I just went right to North Carolina. And then she came here and she was a nurse for a while. And we ran this outdoors group. And we did backpacking trips, like kayaking trips every weekend. And we were in charge of the group, and we just kind of, we love photography. So we were photographing people in the outdoors. And so we did that for a good year, and it was awesome. One of the people that attended one of my backpacking trips, Anna, she said, "I'm getting married in 2 weeks. If you don't photograph it, nobody will." And so we're like, shit, okay. And it's not something I really wanted to do.
Josh was very, very nervous. I actually had to kind of convince him to do it because I thought it'd be awesome.
Yeah. So you tell the rest of the story.
But I mean, basically it was like the perfect wedding. Like, even nowadays we would describe it as like the perfect wedding. Like,
wow.
Autumn wedding outside in the mountains, like adorable little bohemian couple. Like, we got to stay in a cabin for the weekend, and it was just a very, very best first wedding that you could ever imagine. And we put the photos online and stuff, and then on Facebook. Yeah. And then our friends started seeing them, and then people started, asking us, "Oh, I saw you did this other wedding. Maybe you'll photograph my wedding, or maybe you'll photograph my family portraits, or this and that." And so it just kind of like took off from there. And it took a few years before it really became a full-time thing. Yeah. But I mean, that's really how it got started, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. So did you say it was like 5 years ago? Is that what you said?
So that wedding was
2010.
Yeah, 2010.
Okay,
yeah.
So 7 years ago, right.
Yeah.
But then we didn't start shooting really until 2012, and it was part-time. And 3 years ago, we went full-time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I quit my job as a teacher, and she left nursing.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys have only been full-time for 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Word. Well, I mean, so what was that transition like, moving from full-time public education teacher to full-time wedding photographers?
Man. Okay, so I love teaching. I love working with kids, but the rest of it, and you're a teacher, it's like there's a lot of crap that goes around, just like forms and shit. And so like I had been like for a good year like planning this, like leaving teaching and just doing the full-time thing with photography. Yeah. Even when I was charging like $900 a wedding, it was like more than I made in a week, as an elementary teacher. So I'm like, sweet, So yeah, that's kind of our beginning. Like I had to convince her was the trick. Like I came home one day with a list of like all the things I could be doing instead of this job that, I'm no longer passionate about. And I think, once you're not passionate about a job, just leave, just move on to something else, and that's I still feel very passionate about photography, and that's how I felt at that time. And she said, go for it. And so I did. And then 6 months later, she left her job.
And I love my job as a nurse. I worked on the cardiology unit, and I always told people, like, don't worry, guys, I'm never going to leave. I love my job. And I really did. But at the end, I would work like 2 days a month, and they would say like one of those days had to be a weekend day. I mean, it just had to be fair for everyone. Everyone has to work a weekend day. But I mean, obviously when you're a wedding photographer, that's like your real moneymaker day. So like, I just had to say goodbye eventually, but it was a really, really slow transition for me out of nursing.
Right.
And then our first year going full time, we shot 44 weddings.
Yeah.
Talk to us, like how the hell
I really could not.
Yeah. They're watching, they're like, how the hell can I do something even remotely similar, partially, 10 weddings, what talk to us about that process.
Okay.
How did you guys hustle?
Okay, so I would say, like, I'm just going to break it down into the things that I think really helped us in the beginning. One, we called ourselves Hartman Outdoor Photography, and like a lot of people like kind of scoffed at that name. They're like, "What outdoor? Like that doesn't make sense." But it really helped us to define our own niche, And I think you definitely have your own style, Mark, like and your own double exposures,
Right.
like so like it's the same thing, like just find your own area. I think the other thing that we kind of focused on in the beginning, instead of like going to the Knot, Wedding Wire, and all these places and paying for subscriptions, we invested heavily in the beginning. It was more my time on SEO for our own website. Like that was our main goal, to be on page #1 for Raleigh wedding photography. Like at the time, that was our goal, and we did it. It was a lot of work for me, and eventually we hired a guy, and we at one point we were paying him $450 a month. Wow. Maybe 350, 450.
Oh, I don't.
It was around $400 a month, and he would help us with our SEO every month and help build certain keywords.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of people pay that much because they're on Wedding Wire, they're on the Knot, they're on Junebug. And it's like that could easily add up to more than that. And now we don't pay. We don't pay anything for advertising. But I think a lot of that was just from building up our brand, and blogging regularly was another thing we did.
Are you gonna talk about the wedding show?
Oh yeah, we did one wedding show.
That was, I think, the big thing with that year.
Oh, with that year, yeah.
The 44 weddings was because we did this wedding show,
Okay.
and we haven't done any other wedding shows since, because we get enough inquiries through Google and social media and everything now. But in that first year when we went full time, that was a blessing, because it really, really like kicked up the bookings like crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it works best for people in a certain price point, like the beginner price point, but it really, really, I mean, we had exposure to hundreds of brides, and that's how we got the 44 weddings.
And it was kind of tricky though, learning how, because we had done 2 shows actually that season. And the first show was mildly successful. We had to really learn how to like reel the brides in and like get their attention. We had a ring toss game at the show.
Yeah.
But
honestly, people remember that. People like that looked us. They said, "Oh like, yeah, I remember you had the ring toss, and that looked
everybody
fun." So
got a gift certificate. Everyone got something.
Yeah.
That's smart.
With our name on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like little tricks you learn. But I think the big ones for like for us at this point, we're at a point where we don't pay for any advertising, and all we do is blog. And we have an SEO person.
Yep. Actually, we got really, really lucky. Yeah. So this year, we had actually stopped doing SEO work because we were having enough like through our own blogging and social media. But this year, one of our brides is an SEO person. So I felt like that was like the best person, like a woman who, usually it's the bride that is researching for the wedding photographer and everything. So she is doing our SEO work this year, and she's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, so that's really, really helped.
We're trying to move more to Asheville, North Carolina. Like that's going to be our home base, hopefully one day. Yeah. I just think Asheville's awesome. I love Asheville.
It is. We're actually doing a workshop there in 2018 together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. A lot of like the best people in North Carolina that I've had crushes on for a while, like really great photographers,
Yeah.
Sean Carr.
Yep.
He's going to be there.
We're going to be there with Sean and Chad and Alicia, Jillian Clark, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing time with y'all. So you said you had 40-something weddings your first year you went full time. Do you have any embarrassing stories? You got to have some embarrassing stories. From that.
Okay, so we pre-discussed this.
Yeah.
And we have one really great embarrassing story to share.
It's probably, I hope it tops all your embarrassing stories that you've ever, because do you ask this question?
I figured you guys would have some.
Do you ask this question to everyone? Like, okay. So I think this is gonna top.
So man, I don't even know how to start this. But okay. So we had, thankfully we photograph outdoor weddings. But one time we had an outdoor wedding, and I will not say any other details because I think no one knows about this except for me and Josh. But we were photographing the wedding. It was time for the ceremony to start. I go there, I set up, and I'm like ready to shoot the ceremony.
The bride is walking. Okay.
No, hold on.
Let me I'm gonna add a detail. So normally I photograph like everyone walking down.
Right.
Like that's the nice thing about having the partnership. You know your roles. So my role is to photograph everybody walking down the aisle.
Yeah.
And I'm about ready to photograph the bride. I'm like, where is Shelly?
No, hold on. You skipped ahead, honey. So like the ceremony's starting. I'm like getting, guests like, sitting there waiting for, the groom's already up there and everything. And like the bridesmaids are coming down, and all of a sudden I like don't feel good. And like 2 seconds later, I poop my pants, like literally. And then I just was like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, people are going to smell this. Like,
so she's running away.
So I whispered to Josh. I went up to Josh and I was like, Josh, I just pooped my pants. I have to go to the bathroom. And so then I like ran to the bathroom, and somehow, I just went really, really quick, and I ran back. And as I was running back, that is when the bride was coming down the aisle, and I still got the shots. I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
Like, I was so lightning fast. Like, I honestly don't think anyone really knew what happened.
And I will say, I think the reason why she pooped her pants was because this wedding was like go, 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 go. Like getting ready.
I don't think I used the bathroom.
She didn't have time for a break.
Like, I felt fine, but I just randomly pooped my pants.
Yeah, that tops all the stories. Buddy. So congratulations there.
Yeah.
Well, you have to share like the second best. So
like,
at least
second best, so I can feel a little better about myself.
God, I don't know. People just bullshit that question
Yeah.
so hard. Y'all went for it.
That was 100%
honesty.
honesty. 100% honesty.
Yeah.
No, y'all are for real. There's no. I can't even think of one after that.
The bride's walking down the aisle. You poop your pants.
Yep, just poop your pants. And other photographers might have just kept shooting, but I knew I had my second. We have our second.
You gotta get that shot no matter what.
Yeah. Just held down the fort for like a minute, and then I came back.
Yeah.
That's hardcore. That's. You can't. Love it. Wonderful. Well, let's see. Well, on a kind of other challenging note, as you began that first year, so you guys were hustling. You're shooting so much that you're not even using the bathroom. What are some other big challenges you guys had during that first year? Because I can't even imagine some of the hard lessons y'all had to learn.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Like for me, keep in mind I was coming from like teaching, so like giving myself 60 to 80 hours a week for something that pays less. Then I go into wedding photography. I'm like, damn, I'm making $900 a wedding. 3 weddings in a weekend? Wow.
Yeah.
It's like, that's how I felt. That's how I felt, So I guess like we had like in October, we had like 2 or 3 triple headers, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, weekend.
Yeah. So we learned how to manage our time after that. And,
totally.
Nowadays we book occasional double headers, but mostly we try and keep it at like 1 a weekend and everything.
Yes. So can you talk about some of the ways that you learn how to manage your time?
One big thing, now that we live in the camper, a huge thing with the camper is like to put life first. And like, we love our jobs and everything, but like life isn't about work, it's about having fun. So, we just try and really prioritize like putting fun first, making sure we make time for hikes and exploring and travel. And, you know, when we moved into the camper, like Josh said, we stopped all advertising. We also used to outsource our editing, and now Josh does all of our editing, and he does a fantastic job. But yeah, I mean, basically just like, I mean, now because he does our editing, we just don't have time to do, you know, if we want to have time for each other and for like a date night or a hike, we don't really have time for more than one wedding a week or one or maybe 2 engagement sessions a week, depending on what time of year it is. But really just like learning to say no, I think, because it's so, I mean, when you have stuff coming in and it's like your livelihood and it's your passion, it is like so hard to say no to people, especially like, I mean, we get, you know, I just like, I get so many great stories, and it's just like sometimes we just can't take it all. I mean, I feel like that's the hardest thing. So we refer a lot of stuff out. Like that makes me feel better about it.
It's funny because like when we first started, I feel like we said yes more often than like 99% of the time we said yes. We'll do it. Yeah. You know, and we shot a lot of cool weddings. Like I remember a Nigerian wedding I shot in my first year, which was really cool, very colorful and fun. That's really cool. So we had a lot of cool opportunities in the beginning, and I love it. But nowadays I feel like we're saying no more often. Like is it an outdoor ceremony? Or do you have a planned outdoor ceremony? If you don't, then maybe we're not for you.
Yeah,
you know?
These days I just started this year sending out like a mini questionnaire to every inquiry. Like, you know, if we're available for your date, awesome. Just I have these questions for you to make sure we're a good fit, because I mean, every wedding is beautiful, but there's some weddings that, you know, maybe we just connect with more. And like if we feel really, really passionate about what's happening, then I feel like we'll do a really, really great job.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same thing with editing. She talked about like we kind of cut it off at noon. Afternoon is our playtime, so we'll wake up, we'll work for 4 hours. And the cool thing about that is like I'm really excited about a lot of the weddings we've shot. And I'm excited about editing it, you know. And a lot of people like will get that out, like they'll have a sneak peek up the next day. And I'm a little bit slower, you know. Like typically we shoot a lot of photos, so I have to go through them, and then, you know, just editing them, I'll edit until I just don't feel like editing anymore. Because like I tell my clients, it's like, do you really want me? Like I know some photographers get wedding photos out like 3 weeks later. You know, like, you know, we're typically a month or more now. You know.
Yeah, me too.
And I think it's a better quality. Like you just make better decisions. You take more time.
Yeah, there's this thing of time. I think that we don't sometimes value in our culture as much. I think you guys have definitely got that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a similar. I won't work when it gets dark outside anymore. I used to do that, and I kind of overdid it many times. So
yeah.
Purpose.
I like that rule.
That's a cool rule. I like that.
Another question I was curious about: as you had to start turning people away, did you start considering your pricing a little bit differently?
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, what the heck? Our wedding clients aren't going to be on here. So I'll just tell you, like, I'll say, you know, we have 2 pricing sheets.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a destination pricing sheet, and we have our regular pricing sheet. So like, you know, say if it requires travel or something, you know, the travel is kind of built in there. And sometimes there might be additional travel fees on top of that. Right. But it just kind of, you know, helps things out when you already see it built into the package. Sure. But yeah, also, I mean, we've raised our prices quite a bit since, I mean, especially since we first started out. Now I feel like we're at a really fair price for both of our time. I mean, like, I don't know how much more I'd want to raise things, because I feel like there's also a fair price for our clientele.
Oh, totally.
For outdoorsy people. I mean, we're not looking for like really like rich over the top weddings. We're looking for like really bohemian outdoor loving people, which I feel like we're at a fair price for them. Yeah,
it's like you know, like we just left Estes Park. Mm-hmm. And like those are my people. Like on the trail, I'm like, these are my people. They're just like hiking up this mountain, like, and just skiing down and just having a great time. And then we just passed through Vail, and what was the other town? Breckenridge. And it's just like a different culture, like a little bit higher, like just not as like adventurous and like just not necessarily our clientele. Like, like, so we do have two different pricing, and this is something we started like 3 months ago. If your wedding's in the city, we're probably going to give you the higher pricing because we're Hartman Outdoor Photography, just stuff like that, like we're just kind of helping. And sometimes we do get people who book at that higher pricing, but this is relatively new. It's been like the last 3 months that we did it. So
cool. Yeah. Let us know how that goes. That's an interesting experiment. I'm curious to hear about. So I'm sure that in the past 3 years, y'all have seen photography education. You've seen an influx of new photographers. Where do you think that's going to continue to go in the years to come?
Well, mainly I think that there's going to be a huge growth in elopements and small weddings, because I think people are seeing the value in the intimacy of the day. Because honestly, that's actually what we did.
I'm sorry. Did you say education though?
Oh, sorry.
Well, I guess what.
Yeah.
Coming in, but also that too. I think where do y'all see photography going? And I think it's kind of one of the same in that where should photographers be learning? What should they be learning about? Where's the market? But at the same time, yes, what's
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me to answer?
Yes.
Okay. so I call me crazy, but I think drones are going to take over the world of wedding photography. Like as soon as they get something silent that can hover around you and has like smile detection and can just like snap photos of you all day, and then you can go in and pick your photos. And I think it's going to be more and more important that you use your brain and you're creative and you do something different. If you're just doing the same thing that everyone else does, then what are you offering that a drone can't?
To your point.
And I differ there because I don't think drones are good.
I've had this theory ever since drones started, and honestly, I refuse to buy one. But I did see one for $750, and it will follow you around. It will not crash into a tree. It will just fly and hover. Like it's so easy to fly. It'll follow you around and take photos of you. I'm like, damn, $750.
Drones are really cool, and I want one, but I don't think that they're going to replace us completely. I think they are. Like in the past 10 years even, I've seen things changing from being so traditional in wedding photography to being less traditional and more artistic, and I think people have an appreciation for that. I think that's only going to grow because a drone won't be able to take an artistic photo. Sure, there will probably be people who want that, and it's easy, and it's they're just looking for some decent shots of their wedding day. But the people who really have value for like people who capture memories and, do it in an artistic way, I think definitely wedding photography will just continue to grow in that way.
So I don't think drones are going to take over like next year. I think it's going to be 15 years from now. But still, it's like something to think about. Like if you're trying to make this a lifelong thing,
Yeah, for sure.
But I definitely think, you think about America. It's like we not ran on America, but like we sometimes like, we're hungry. We drive into McDonald's. It's easy,
It's true.
Like we've seen commercials for this drone company. Like, hey, hire them. They're cheaper and it's easier, and sometimes easier is not better,
Yeah, for sure.
But
yeah, I think you're right in that's probably going to eventually be a market for folks to for brides and couples to look into. You're right. It makes sense. Why would they charge, or why would they pay $3,000 when they can pay $1,000 for this drone that follows you around? So
yeah,
that's interesting. I've yet to hear that one yet. So another
lots of firsts here.
Yeah. So are there any other photographers or people that aren't photographers out there that kind of inspire y'all to continue making and creating art?
Yeah. Well, I would say like our big photography crushes are probably Nordica. And they live where now?
In Sweden.
Sweden?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
They're
did they shoot
guys? Yeah, they photographed us in Iceland
with the horses, right?
Yeah, cold.
Oh
that was
God.
cold.
God.
Yeah, it's so crazy. So like I don't know, we've been following Nordica for a while, and like for our own wedding photos, we had my stepdad photograph them, and he's good. He's a great photographer. I feel like he does a good job incorporating nature and stuff. But you know, it was his first wedding, and he was trying to have fun himself, and
we weren't wedding photographers yet when we were getting married, so we didn't have
that eye. It was a lot to ask of a family member. But he did a good job. But still, we felt like, maybe for our 5-year anniversary, we'll do something special. And we were going to Iceland. We had 2 weddings in Iceland, and then we just were like, okay, we'll renew our vows, and we hired Cole. And Cole is this freaking badass. Like, he shows up in this Land Rover, and he just like, he has all these locations, and like, he just drives us around. We're speeding. He said it was his 3rd worst weather day.
Yeah.
He's ever photographed.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Her dress
My
ripped
dress
apart.
just like disintegrated.
My pants split down the middle. Yeah. It just like everything just died.
Yeah.
But the photos,
I mean, the photos were amazing, and they're basically living our dream. Like, they just travel all over and photograph destination weddings, like, all over the world. Like,
so it's Cole's married, he has kids, and it's Jacob, and so it's 2 guys, and they kind of run the business, and they're freaking awesome.
That's amazing.
Great people. We had beers with them later, and he's just very down to earth. It's so funny. Like, you meet you find a photographer on social media, and you feel like they're gonna be so like egotistical, and like sometimes it's true, like sometimes that happens, but like every once in a while you're like, oh my god, he's so down to earth, like, like, it's just nice to meet someone like that is just like no ego,
For sure.
Yeah. And so I'd say Nordica's like our main photography crush. And otherwise, I really, really love to just look at like fashion magazines for inspiration, just for general things like, thinking about like what makes women look flattering, or how could I get people to incorporate some more motion into this shot and have it look natural. I like to study that kind of stuff. Plus, I just have always loved reading magazines anyways, so it's an easy way to inspire myself.
Can I share something we don't do? It's just okay. Like, I mean, this is, I don't know, this is controversial. I was just gonna say, like, you see like the feature accounts, they can be cool. Like where they post like the best of the best photographers, like, it's just like, I don't know. What's a good feature account? I don't know. Like, what's a good one?
I don't even know.
Whatever. I'm not going to point anybody out, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like sometimes we're like, hamsters on this wheel, and we're just like following this ideal shot, and everybody is doing the same thing, and they're following the same shot. And it's like, like for me, I like unfollow. Like, I follow you, Mark. I follow Sean. I follow all my favorite photographers, and that's it. Yeah. And like, I just feel like these accounts where they just feature the best of the best. Like, we're all just trying to emulate that instead of like creating our own different style. And I don't know. I
think basically what Josh is getting at is like, there's a lot of competition in photography and a lot of comparison. I feel like even worse is comparison in photography. And so we don't follow many other photographers, honestly. Like, we check in with people, we know who to look at, when we want to follow up on people. But other than people we actually know, we don't really follow other people, because we want to just keep things authentic.
It's not bad. I mean, I definitely think like, sometimes I feel like dumb. Like, people tell me, oh, you don't know that photographer, you should check out their work. Like, I don't really know a lot of photographers, or even like one thing I'd really like to learn is like the best photographers in history, like, like war photographers and that shit. Like, I don't follow any of it. Like, so I feel like there is definitely something to be learned from other artists. Yeah. But the only problem I have is like those sometimes the feature accounts, like, because like when I look at that account, I feel like shit. Like, I feel like my work isn't shit. Like all these epic photos of everywhere around the world, like couples diving off sailboats into the sea, like at sunset. It's like, I don't get that shit. And like, and the next photo is like, it's something else ridiculous. And I just feel bad. Like, and I just feel like, just find your own. Like, I always say, like, I feel like photography is as diverse as personalities. Find your own, and you'll find your people. Your people will come. Like,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's something that we all struggle with that. Speaking of kind of feelings and emotions, would y'all be willing to talk about maybe some of your emotional struggles that you've gone throughout this process? Because I can't imagine how hard it was to do what y'all have done over the past 7 years, and you didn't feel like quitting or just feeling a number of emotions. Can y'all talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So I think it's really, really helpful to have each other, because I just cannot imagine like doing it all myself. I mean, we split everything up and we're able to collaborate on things and ideas. And I mean, the struggle is, working together when you have two creative minds. Like, we have different thoughts and different ideas sometimes and different opinions on what is a good photo.
Sure.
Working through that. And ultimately, we just decided, each of our opinions really matters. And so if Josh decides to keep an edit of a certain photo and share a certain photo that maybe I don't like, it's like, well, Josh loves that photo. Josh thinks that photo is great. So
yeah,
that is his opinion. And, same thing for me if I do the same thing. And then I'd say the other big struggle is, because it's the both of us in this business and because we both feel so passionate about it, just not being workaholics, which is just so easy to do.
Totally.
But when we moved into the camper, it really nipped that in the bud. We physically don't have reception to do work a lot of times.
I will say sometimes
maybe not power.
Sometimes we overwork. We still
sometimes overwork, but we really try and put limits on it.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to build your Instagram following. Like, we still do all that. We're trying to post cool content every day and work on your captions and I don't know. It's time consuming. And then you got Facebook and pretty much now we just do Instagram and Facebook.
Yep. Same here.
It's just we try to do Snapchat, we try to do Twitter, and just whatever.
It's you can do everything. Sure, everything can lead to a booking potentially, but what do you want to do? Also not taking things too seriously. Sure, it's our business, and sure, it's our livelihood, but honestly, just having fun with it is the most important thing.
Yeah,
which is something we've really, really started doing now that we live in the camper also, and spend more time together and are on the road.
Totally. And there was definitely a time before we found that groove. I feel probably the most productive, money making, awesome, time that I could think of was in our condo. But the problem was we weren't happy. We were, we have this money, let's go out to eat every night, and we would, I had 4 unicycles. I had all these fucking toys I never used. It's it's just eventually one day it snapped. I came home, I think, from the Grand Tetons, and I was talking about living in a van, and Shelly's like, well, look at this camper. And she was looking online for campers, found this camper. And I feel like Shelly said, that just being a camper just simplifies your whole life. It's I feel when you have so many choices, it's just so overwhelming, and you just aren't you're so distracted from your goals and what you want to achieve.
Right.
And living in a camper, it just simplifies everything.
Yeah. So I hear that. How long did it take y'all to definitely a healthy choice for me, and this is something that is going to positively impact me for the rest of my life?
So I think we decided we were in Moab, right?
We were in Mojave.
Mojave, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, we're in Moab now. Mojave, yeah. So Mojave, and I think right then we said, okay, we could do this, because we were out in the middle of nowhere, 20 miles from anybody, and we were camping in a tent. And we're like, this is freaking awesome. So that's when we decided, and then 3 months later, we actually were in our camper full time.
Wow.
3 months later, we everything happened so quick. We came home, we're going to sell our condo. And that sold pretty much the same time we moved into the camper. We found our truck, we found our camper, we got rid of all our shit, and it happened in 3 months.
That had to be scary. just to
Yeah.
like, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, we had no idea like what was really going to happen with our business, like how I actually didn't tell people that we lived in a camper. Like when people would inquire, I would just pretend like we still lived in our Cary condo because I thought people would think it was too weird,
too shady.
Yeah, like
like come by
I actually one
come
time
by and photograph your wedding.
Yeah, like one time I had a mom ask me like, so do you have an address? And I was like, no, like because at that point we didn't have an address, and so I just was like scared to say it from that point on for a while, and then I realized, okay, maybe people will think this is cool.
Yeah.
But like everything was just a big question mark, and honestly, we're still figuring things out right now, with how to run things from our camper. But it's worked. I mean, taking things this way, just step by step, has worked out really well for us. Like better than we could have imagined, honestly.
Yeah, I actually, you guys motivated me to start observing that minimalist group in Facebook because I saw.
Oh yeah. The minimalist group. That's a great group.
Yeah, so I decorated my house in a really, really minimal way. Ended up posting some stuff in there, and
cool. I gotta check that out.
Yeah. I was surprised that you guys didn't see that, but it ended up being some of my most popular Facebook photos ever.
Right.
What the hell? I was like, these are my people apparently.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like,
that's your niche. Like you find your niche. Like people find each other that are into the same things, and like we and that's one of the ways we promote ourselves on Instagram. Like if you go in that group, like I'll post like just an authentic story. You know, just something I felt like sharing. I don't just like sit down. Like sometimes I'm just like, I need to write. And I'll write on my phone in notes. I'm just like, I pull it up and I start writing. And Shelly's like, Josh. And I'm like, and I'm writing. And like for like an hour. I'm a slow writer. So it's like an hour and a half. I just write a caption and then I just choose a photo and I blast it on there. And at the end, I just say, follow our adventures on Instagram. And the last 10 days, we gained 1,500 followers on Instagram.
Wow.
From that.
Yeah.
Wow.
From that. You just post an authentic story and I feel like choose your pictures wisely, like, you know, something that just fits with that, and just say follow our adventures, you know, and because I mean, and it's an authentic way to get it, because honestly, those are my people in that minimalist group. That's my people, you know, like that are just like living the life and just like, you know, instead of like paying for advertising, like just do it that way, you know?
Right. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, saw your post, and I saw how much engagement you were getting on that site, because I think I was just in it, you know, and I didn't like engage in that group or something. And then when I saw how much engagement you guys were getting with that, and I think that's what caused me to do it. I was like, dang, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, totally.
They were interested in photography or whatever, but I mean, it makes sense. You know, we're the ones who make the photos, so obviously ours are going to be best, and they're going to like ours the best. So
totally. Yeah.
That was so interesting. Yeah, and I just posted like 10 photos of the house, and I was like, wow, this. Again, kind of like what you're saying, I started thinking of it as more marketing. It's like, oh wow, how else can I find my people and my potential real client? You know.
Yeah. Totally.
Really cool.
It's like already set up for you. Like I take a photo to inspire people, and who do I want to inspire? My people. You know, it's like right here in this group, and I just need to write my story and like engage in them. And a lot of the people in those groups I'm friends with. Like this morning, Robin Barnes, like she recommended Delicate Arch. Go there at sunset. Trust me.
Sunrise.
Sunrise. Sunrise. So we woke up. Ass crack of dawn, 6 a.m. and that's for ass crack of dawn for us, you know. Yeah. But so we start running the trail. It's like 1.5 miles out there, and the sun is rising right in the middle of the arch.
Oh my God.
It's like, oh my God.
That was perfect.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's like the best I told Shelly, this is the best. This is the best I've ever photographed. Like today, like nothing will top this.
It's really cool.
Yeah, that place is freaking beautiful. So most of my photos that I am so proud of are from there. But
oh God, it's incredible. Yeah, it's so fun. Like you can go climb a rock, you know, and get a different vantage point. There's a million different vantage points. It's not like, you know, just walking. Like I'm from Illinois, just walking, you know, around flat land. You can just climb a rock, and like this morning I climbed a rock and I got a bunch of thorns in my hand, but you know, it got a good photo. So
I kind of want to finish up. I always finish up with a gear question because I'm losing light quickly. You guys are losing them. I'm slowly like leaning towards the window and my phone here because like I don't want to put on like an actual light.
Oh, you're fine. You look
no,
good.
You're totally fine.
Good.
Yeah, it's 2 hours earlier here. So.
Can you guys talk about your gear switch recently? Because y'all are still trying to get rid of your Canon stuff, and so many of us shoot Canon. But I know we've talked about this just so much about Fuji and Canon, and
totally
had so many discussions. Talk about your switch.
So you're a Canon Fuji guy. You shoot X100?
Yeah, I've been shooting with X100 for a couple of years now. So
yeah, that's the camera that sold me on Fuji.
Yeah,
incredible. Like I love being able to see what I got like right in the electronic viewfinder. Mm-hmm. So amazing. Like no chimping, just like looking at your photos, just like capture the moment. And other than that, it's like freaking small. It's and like so you actually want to take it places and go on adventures. It's not like a burden, like I have to take my camera. So yeah, I mean, like this morning I was shooting with the Fuji XC2 and I had my 35 and an 85, which would be different equivalents. I think it's 23 and 56.
We just refer to them in their equivalent form rather than like
for full frame.
Like
so the 23 and the 56. Yeah, and she has the other 23. But yeah, I mean, flip screen, great for short people. You could just like hold it up and like see what you're getting. Like you don't have to take stools around. It's lighter weight. It's all weatherproof. I love the dials. Yeah. Like and just like the dynamic range, it kills it. Like Canon kills the highlights. It just if you are overshot on your photo, if you're overexposed, you will lose that photo. But with Fuji, like the other day, I overexposed on a photo and I brought it down. It's like fuck, like the files are crazy.
Yeah, the Fuji files are just amazing. Like that's what really won me over. Was I was a little skeptical about it because I'd been shooting with Canon for years, and for whatever reason, I just didn't click with the Fuji X100T that I had, and so I ended up selling that. But
it wasn't quite professional.
Well, sure. I don't know. I just never really, I never really got into it. So I was really skeptical. But then Josh would start shooting sessions and weddings alongside me on the Fuji as I shot Canon, and then we'd have our files right next to each other, and like my sky's all blown out. I underexposed the couple to try and keep the sky, but it still doesn't look as great as the Fuji file. Yeah. And then, even if the Fuji file didn't look as good as the Canon file, you can pull so much more out of it.
Yeah. And
it's just smaller. It's way more fun to use. The focusing is amazing. Like, honestly, it's like, I was just so sold from that point on. I actually have refused to pick up my Canon. I only want to shoot with my Fuji now.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. The only thing I will say, and this is just like being mirrorless, the only thing is you don't get the bokeh. Mm-hmm. Right. So if you're obsessed with bokeh, like keep your full frame. Like I actually told Shelly when, initially I was like, we could be Canon Fuji. You could have one Canon and one Fuji, and I think that's actually the best of both worlds because you got your bokeh. The Canon is a great lens. I love the new touchscreen. Oh my God. Like that's a great addition. I've heard great things about that. And then, they're what's that thing like after, like you can bring back after, you can bring it in focus afterwards. Have you tried that?
That's weird.
The dual processing or whatever.
Yeah, like dynamic, like dual focus, like whatever. I don't care. Yeah. But you can bring it back into focus. Like I guess it's only like incremental, but like it's not like that big of a deal if it's completely out of focus. But that's cool. That's cool. Like that, and that's some things that Fuji isn't offering. So I could definitely see where you have your bokeh, you have your Canon. Canon's great, but honestly, for us being in a camper, smaller is better. Like we're like, holy shit, we're selling all this big glass. So
and the camera that is most fun to have on you and carry around and put in your purse, that's like the one that I'm going to use. So we take so many more photos of just daily life or, family parties. Like my grandma's 89 years old, so I took the Fuji to our Christmas party this year, and she normally doesn't let me take pictures, but because of like the LCD screen, I was able to like shoot with it like down here and talk to her, and she didn't even know. And you know,
I do the same thing. Thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, as soon as I can, I'm gonna be getting the Pro there, the X2 X2. So just love Fuji. You know, I don't know if I'll ever give up my Canon, but you know, it's the same thing. I really enjoy the glass that Canon has, you know, and such. But Fuji has always been, since I've touched it, it's just been like I'm in love with the thing. So cool. Well, it looks like we're out of time. I just want to thank y'all so much for your vibes in the photography community are just incredible. So and it's just refreshing to be y'all's friends, but also just see your work and your vibe. So thank you so much, and I'll see you guys out in Asheville really soon. So
can't wait.
Yeah, cool. So, thanks again, and we'll talk soon, y'all. If you're watching and you want to follow Josh and Shelly, I've got some links in my blog, Instagram, Facebook, web, and I've got a link to their Rangefinder Top 30 award there. So love y'all. Ask us questions if you have them in the blog, and in peace.